One of the things that really gets me mad is the fact that Darth Vader turned into a Force ghost at the end of Episode 6. No, that's not how that works. Yoda, Qui-Gon Jinn and Obi-Wan Kenobi worked for years and decades to be one with the Force. They worked for it. Anakin or Vader didn't. The idea that no matter how far someone falls, there's still a way back. A way to make things right. It's a concept we love in stories because it gives us hope. It reminds us that people can change, that mistakes don't have to define a person forever. But sometimes, redemption isn't that simple. When it comes to Star Wars, redemption has always been a key theme. We've seen heroes rise, fall, and rise again. We've watched villains confront their demons, wrestle with their choices, and make sacrifices in the name of good. But there's something about the way redemption is handled in this galaxy that doesn't sit right. Especially when we're talking about Darth Vader and Kylo Ren, let's be honest. Vader and Kylo are two of the most iconic villains in cinematic history. Their power, their presence, their fearsome actions, they're unforgettable. But for all their complexity, their stories hinge on one controversial idea, that they are redeemable. That a single act of heroism can undo the horrors they've unleashed. That they can die as heroes, not as the monsters they lived as. And yet, how can we ignore the weight of their crimes? How can we overlook the suffering they've caused, the countless lives they've shattered? Redemption isn't just about turning away from evil. It's about making amends. It's about rebuilding what you've destroyed. And neither Vader nor Kylo had the chance, or the will, to truly do that. Their redemptions feel rushed, hollow, and ultimately unearned. This video isn't about tearing down beloved characters or dismissing their sacrifices. It's about questioning what redemption really means. It's about examining the cost of their actions and asking whether a single moment of good can ever outweigh a lifetime of evil. Vader and Kylo Ren may be many things, but redeemable. That's a title they haven't earned. Redemption. It's a word that carries so much weight, doesn't it? But what does it really mean? To redeem is to atone, to make amends for something that once caused harm or destruction. Yet, for someone like Darth Vader, who has left a trail of broken lives, shattered dreams, and terrorized galaxies, can we truly call his moment of sacrifice redemption? Think about it for a second. Redemption requires more than a single act of good. It demands a change of heart, a change in behavior, a sustained effort to undo the damage done. Vader, for all his power and his final gesture to save Luke, didn't undo the lives he destroyed or the families he tore apart. His actions brought about brief salvation, not true atonement. There's something unsettling about glorifying Vader's end. He murdered children, hunted Jedi, enforced tyranny, and snuffed out hope wherever he went. His final act was noble, yes, but it was far from enough. It's like applauding someone for patching a leak in a ship they themselves had sunk. How does one moment outweigh decades of horror? It's not enough to say he turned back to the light. The galaxy didn't heal overnight because of his decision. Redemption is about rebuilding, and Darth Vader didn't stick around to rebuild anything. What he left was a mess for others to clean up. Now, let's talk about Kylo Ren, shall we? Here's a character who had every opportunity to walk a different path, yet he deliberately chose the dark side. Raised with love, guidance, and access to the legacy of heroes, Kylo threw it all away in pursuit of power and vengeance. What makes Kylo Ren so frustrating is his awareness. He wasn't manipulated into darkness the way Anakin was by Palpatine's lies. Kylo had warnings. He had examples of what the dark side would do, and yet he turned to it willingly. That kind of deliberate choice makes his actions even harder to forgive. He murdered his own father, Han Solo, in cold blood. A man who only ever wanted to save his son. Kylo's crime wasn't born out of ignorance or manipulation, but out of his own conviction. It's that conviction that makes him so chilling, so unredeemable. It's not a mistake, it's a commitment. Even his so-called conflicted moments feel hollow. We see glimpses of doubt, but those are fleeting. Every time he makes the same choice, to continue down his destructive path. Can someone like that really claim redemption when they've spent so long choosing evil over and over? When we talk about Vader and Kylo Ren, we're not just talking about personal misdeeds. We're talking about crimes that ripple across entire galaxies. Planets destroyed, civilizations obliterated, families torn apart. Their actions created wounds so deep they may never heal. Consider Alderaan, a peaceful planet wiped out in an instant. Vader stood by as it happened, fully complicit in its destruction. He didn't hesitate. He didn't falter. That wasn't a moment of weakness. It was a moment of pure, calculated evil. And no single act of good can erase that. Then there's Kylo, leading the First Order in a campaign of terror that mirrors Vader's empire. Entire systems crushed under his command. Innocents slaughtered for power and control. The scale of their crimes is beyond comprehension, and it's not something that can simply be forgiven. Forgiveness is a powerful thing, but it's not something that should come cheap. When the pain you've caused stretches across countless lives, how can redemption even begin to take shape? It's not about one moment or one decision. It's about everything you've left behind. It's easy to mistake a final act of sacrifice as redemption. It's dramatic, it's emotional, and it ties up a story in a neat little bow. But let's not be fooled by theatrics. One good deed doesn't erase a lifetime of evil. It doesn't undo the harm that's been done. Vader's decision to save Luke from the Emperor was powerful, yes, but let's not forget what came before. He helped build the very system that allowed the Emperor to thrive. He enforced the oppression that Luke and Leia fought so hard to dismantle. His sacrifice was noble, but it was a drop in an ocean of wrongdoing. Kylo's turn, in The Rise of Skywalker, feels equally hollow. After years of destruction, he decides to save Rey. A single life, after all the lives he's taken. It's an emotional moment, but it doesn't absolve him of his crimes. Redemption isn't about making one right decision. It's about a lifetime of right decisions. Sacrifice can be heroic, but it isn't always redeeming. It doesn't erase the past. It doesn't rebuild what's been broken. It's a step, not a solution. And for Vader and Kylo, that step comes far too late. What's truly haunting is the legacy left by these characters. Vader's reign left scars that lingered for decades. The Empire's cruelty didn't end with him. It took years of fighting and sacrifice to undo even a fraction of the damage he caused. Kylo Ren's legacy is no better. The First Order's reign of terror didn't crumble the moment he died. The fear and pain he inflicted remained, leaving others to pick up the pieces. His choices left a mark that can't simply be erased. Legacies are built over time, and they're shaped by the actions we take. Vader and Kylo spent their lives building legacies of fear, destruction, and oppression. Their final acts don't rewrite those legacies. They merely add a small footnote. The people left behind are the ones who truly suffer. The heroes who must rebuild. The families who must mourn. The galaxies that must heal. Their legacies are reminders of how far-reaching and devastating their actions were. Forgiveness is a complex thing, isn't it? It's deeply personal, and it's never guaranteed. For someone like Vader or Kylo, can forgiveness even be earned? Or is it something that can only be granted by the people they've hurt? It's tempting to say that everyone deserves a second chance. But what happens when that chance comes too late? When the harm is already done and the damage is irreversible, forgiveness doesn't undo the pain. It doesn't bring back the lives that were lost. Forgiving someone like Vader or Kylo requires a level of compassion that borders on the extraordinary. And yet, even if forgiveness is given, it doesn't equal redemption. Redemption is something that must be worked for, earned through action, not just accepted through words. There's a difference between forgiving someone and excusing their actions. Forgiveness is about letting go of anger, but it doesn't erase accountability. It doesn't rewrite history. It doesn't absolve them of the weight of their choices. Yet, there's something unsettling about how redemption arcs are often presented in stories. They feel rushed, don't they? As if one moment of heroism can erase an entire lifetime of villainy. It's a narrative shortcut that simplifies something deeply complex. Vader's redemption feels forced because it happens in the final moments of his life. There's no time for him to truly atone, to face the consequences of his actions. It's a redemption of convenience, not conviction. The same goes for Kylo, whose arc feels similarly abrupt. Redemption should be a journey, not a destination. It's not about flipping a switch and suddenly being good. It's about facing your past, making amends, and working tirelessly to rebuild what you've broken. Neither Vader nor Kylo had the chance to do that. When redemption is treated as a single act, rather than a lifelong process, it cheapens the concept. It makes it feel hollow, unearned, and ultimately unsatisfying. It's not just about what they did in the end. It's about everything they didn't do. So, are Vader and Kylo redeemable? Not really, no. Their final acts were powerful, yes, but they weren't enough. They didn't erase the past. They didn't rebuild what they destroyed. They were steps in the right direction, but they came far too late. Redemption is about more than a single moment. It's about a lifetime of effort, of choosing to do good, over and over again. Vader and Kylo didn't have that chance, and they didn't take it when they did. Their actions, their legacies, their choices, they speak for themselves. We can respect their final moments without glorifying them. We can acknowledge their sacrifice without excusing their crimes. And we can remember that redemption is something earned, not something given. It's not just about what you do, it's about what you leave behind. And what they left behind was pain, fear, and destruction. No single moment can change that. No act of sacrifice can rewrite their history. Their stories are a reminder of what happens when power is chosen over compassion, and when redemption is left until it's too late. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this breakdown, Be sure to subscribe to Critical Analysis Hub for deep dives into the Star Wars movies, and check out Critical Analysis Hub Plus for case studies on Star Wars shows. Also, if you want to rep the fandom in style, check out the bio for awesome Star Wars Legos and Funko Pops. May the Force be with you. I'll see you in the next one.